Hey guys, it's Viejo here. It is the first week of February in 2025. And we've been having a little bit of rain here on the central coast of California. Darn, little's better than none, right? Hey, this is episode 11 of Wadcutter Wednesday. This is part one. We got another 38 caliber wadcutter for you today. This one is a Lee, the 358148 wadcutter, another kind of a type 2 button nose wadcutter, 2-cavity mold. From Lee, and their 2-cavity molds come with handles attached. They're not necessarily removable either, so they stay attached. Let's jump down in here and take a look at this mold. Okay, here is the Lee 356148 is what that's supposed to say. It looks almost like a 6 on there, but 148 wadcutter, 2-cavity mold. Lee 2-cavity molds comes with handles pre-attached. They're not removable effectively. I mean, you can get them off of there. You can drill those out and whatnot. The LH on there stands for left hand. So this is a left threaded screw that helps keep it from coming loose during use. So you got to remember that. To tighten this up, it's lefty tighty and righty loosey. So brand new mold. I have not used this one before. There's the cavity. Okay. I don't know if you can quite see on here, but there is a crimp groove up here, and it's going to be a type 2 wadcutter. Okay, plain base. And it's, Hensley and Gibbs number 50 style. 2 alignment pins. Okay. Very lightweight molds. These little aluminum guys are easy to handle. That's one thing really nice about them. Okay, let's go ahead and get it heat cycled. Since it is brand new, we'll want to get it seasoned up a little bit, and that means we're going to put it on the hot plate. Some folks do these in the oven, but I'm going to do them on the hot plate, and we'll get them up to casting temperature, and then take it off the hot plate, let it cool, and do that 2 or 3 times. That, again, helps kind of season the metal, helps get rid of any residual oils that may have migrated itself into the surface pores and so forth that we didn't get cleaned off during the toothbrush and detergent process of cleaning in the sink. Okay, off to the hot plate. Okay, so that's what that one looked like as far as the mold goes. Fairly typical button nose type 2 wadcutter. We're going to go ahead here and get some cast up to load and shoot for you guys. And this one, I think maybe I didn't get it quite clean enough. I do that periodically, as you know, if you watch my channel long enough and get in a hurry and don't do a good enough job getting them scrubbed up. This one took me a few moldfuls before it would start casting good bullets, and that's not unusual at all. It's a real treat when you get one to drop usable bullets from the very first cast. It just doesn't happen all the time. And I think you guys already know, if you're watching on YouTube, that YouTube doesn't permit me to show you the actual casting process. About all I can show you on YouTube is kind of the beginning and the setup, and the end. I can show you the results, but I can't show you the process. If you want to see that, you have to go to my Rumble channel. You go to rumble.com, type in my channel name just like you see it here, and you can find all of that. If you are watching on YouTube, we're going to kind of jump over to sort of the end. We'll show you what the results were and so forth, and go from there. But if you're watching on Rumble, we'll get right into the casting process. Okay, at first glance they looked okay, but my edges are still not quite round. I think that mold's not quite hot enough, and it's got imperfection there up on the nose. So, and this one pretty raggedy looking too. We'll get rid of those and run this guy a little bit longer and get it cleaned up a little bit better. Okay, here's those first ones. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we had to do 5 casts before we had some that were reasonable. see, yeah, still not perfect, but it's actually usable. Top of that's not 100%, but it's not gonna be an issue. Yeah, that one's a little better, but we'll keep both of those and ditch these guys over here. All right, we'll get back going here. Okay, here's the bullet once it's filled out. You can see the little button on this one is smaller than some of the other Type 2s that we have. The Lee 358148 wadcutter. Got about 50 of them cast up today. Here's the data for that Lee mold. We brought it in with that alloy Viejo number 1. Remember how that was, about a 95.32 or so. And 147 grains with that alloy. Both cavities measured right at 358. Overall bullet length 0.577, and from the base up to the top of that crimp groove 0.480. Okay, here is the Lee 358148 wadcutter in Eastwood's Vermilion, and we'll knock those over, get them into the quench down here. Oops, get them all in there. Okay, so you saw what I meant. You know, the first few drops there just weren't good enough. And what's going on in there is you get some impurities that are in there on the mold as a result of, if it's a brand new mold from the manufacturing process, or in my case, I store them with mineral oil, you know, applied all over the surface to help keep corrosion and rust away. And if you don't get all that stuff cleaned off, it stays in there, and you get improper heating, you know, around that bullet inside the mold, and it just causes deformities and other issues. So you got to scrub them up and do a pretty good job at that, and it looks like I didn't on that one. But you don't get discouraged. Just the casting process, after a while, you know, you cast 4 or 5 moldfuls and keep throwing those bullets right back in the pot, right? Those molds will clean up and start giving you good bullets. It just takes some of them longer than others. All right, what we'll do next week is we'll get them loaded up and take them to the range and shoot them, so you can see what they look like in those dimensions. And believe it or not, we're only about halfway through this series. I've got a bunch more to show you still. So stay tuned for next week for the loading and shooting part of this. But from the Viejo bench for now, that's all she wrote.